Vince, always good to talk to you, but I sure wish it was for a better reason.
Me too. But it is what it is.
24 years of service with the ATF, and you get fired in the parking lot of a Denny's. How did this all come about? Did they call you, say, meet me there? I mean, what happened?
Well, I was contacted Friday by the special agent in charge and asked to meet him halfway between San Francisco and my residence. I inquired what it was about. He admitted that it was about a termination package, and I wasn't available. I mean, it was, 3, 4 o'clock on a Friday afternoon, 4 hours away, and I wasn't inclined to drive down and make his life easier for, what I... Anyway, so he said he would come up the day after the holiday. He was supposed to call me in advance and advise where he wanted to meet. He called me 15 minutes out, said we're at the Denny's, and so, I just follow orders. I just do what I'm told.
Unbelievable.
It was the most unceremonious, undignified moment in my entire career. I've never experienced anything like it.
But, when you look at these hearings and time and again, you had one congressman after another, Congressman Issa. He's warning the ATF not to retaliate against whistleblowers. Do you have any doubt that that is what this was about?
Oh, it's clearly what it was about. Look, we're going into an election cycle. They're trying to tamp down whistleblowers, and people are trying to expose the mismanagement in our executive staff and the lack of leadership and the corrupted and illegal actions going on to this day. That's clearly, they want to create a chilling effect. They want to tamp down people who would step forward and assist Congress in that whole separations of power thing that apparently isn't working too well.
No, and you look at what they're saying. They, as you said, they dropped all the charges except for lack of candor. Now, is that really a charge? I mean, your reaction when you first looked at what was going on?
At this point, I'm not shocked by anything, I got to be honest. Yes, of course, it stung that my agency would do this, that the United States Attorney's Office out of San Francisco is apparently locking arms with Main Justice in their attempt to back the criminal actions of ATF managers instead of defending the government like they're supposed to. All that, went through my head. But when I saw the lack of candor, it took 16 months to decide the outcome of this. They served me, over 16 months ago, and the only charge that was sustained was some lack of candor. And I can assure you, obviously, I'm constrained by restrictions the U.S. government has put on my case that I can't talk about or provide right now until it becomes public record. But I can assure you there is never, ever in my career a lack of candor or lack of truthfulness. Just because you don't like my answer doesn't mean it's not true. And that'll come out. It'll be proven. This is clearly just their last ditch. They're trying to break the bank. It's difficult for a regular citizen to defend themselves against the most powerful government in the world when they take away your money.
And I mean, you've been talking about this for years. You brought attention to the problems when you started this website, cleanupatf.org, for exposing the mismanagement, as you were talking about at ATF. You were the voice and are the voice for so many agents who are unhappy, concerned, don't like what's going on. What have you heard from those agents now that this has become official? You're out of there.
Well, let's be clear on this. I'll not be fired by criminals. I'll not be fired by people who have violated their oath and have lied to Congress and everything else. So I'm not out of anywhere. This is far from over. But, it's overwhelming support. Everybody knows and sees exactly what's going on here. And it'll come out, and, we all. My only opinion about that is every one of us. There's people out there doing things right now on behalf of the citizens in their communities, carrying an ATF badge that are unthinkable. Most people wouldn't do. And they took an oath. And the bottom line is we all agree to defend this system of government, our system of justice. I'm not going to quit believing in it just because it doesn't work immediately or without some struggles. The truth will come out. The system works. It'll be fine. And that would be everybody is all spun up. Everybody wants to write to Congress and wants Chairman Issa and Senator Grassley to hold hearings on, the mismanagement and waste, fraud, and abuse in ATF. It'll come. It's not a perfect system, but it's a darn good one, or I wouldn't have stuck around for 30 years.
But you look at the Inspector General's report, and even he admits an operation like Fast and Furious, as he said, of this magnitude, the Attorney General should have known about it. He said he didn't know about it. And you've been pointing out, and along with all the other guys that have been come forward and spoken about what happened and what went down, this is about accountability. Even the family of Agent Brian Terry say, where is the accountability? And you're still fighting for it.
Well, and I'm not going to stop until somebody is held accountable. These guys who are responsible, these guys and gals at the highest levels of ATF, I can't speak to the Department of Justice. That's Congress's job, and they're doing a darn good job of it. I assume they're going to invoke their authority and pursue this until there is accountability. But right now, these guys are like rats leaving a sinking ship. Hoover and Gillette and all of them are just retiring out without answering for their, violations and their abuses. It's shameful.
And you were talking to me, and just to show how business is done there, you were telling me how Bill McMahon, ATF's Bill McMahon, who has been tied to Fast and Furious and who's now been accused of double dipping for the past several months. He's on paid leave while drawing an additional six-figure salary from J.P. Morgan. He was on the board that voted to fire you.
Yes, that's why I say I will not be fired by criminals, not in this lifetime. I take no joy in having been part of any of this. This is not how I had planned on ending my career, nor did I hope I would ever be in this situation. But the bottom line is I swore to tell the truth, not just when it serves the good guys or not just when it avoided pain for our agency or myself or anybody else. I swore to tell the truth. And because I exposed Mr. McMahon, it's unconscionable that he even got to have his hand in it. Then he went to Internal Affairs after lying to Congress and reviewed my package, my challenge to the original termination proposal. Had his hands all in that. And the lady who signed off on the investigation of my termination proposal signed off on his outside bureau employment approval. I mean, it can't get any more corrupt than that. And this is all under the watchful eye of our acting director and our deputy director. Until somebody loses their job, and transferring the head of IA to, her prior home of record to be a sack and facing no consequences, why would anybody stop doing the business the way we're doing it? Why would they?
And I was going to ask you, 24 years you've been fighting it and not much has changed, and do you think it's going to change anytime soon? Sure doesn't look that way, does it?
You'll never get me to say that. Otherwise, I wouldn't have stepped in. If I didn't think we collectively, the field guys, could affect change, I wouldn't have subjected myself to this sort of brutality.
No, you've been fighting for change, but look at the price you're paying.
Well, not just me. There's dozens and dozens and dozens of agents, inspectors, employees who have tried to do the right thing and make these corrections. The guy who fired me, come on, the guy who physically met me in a parking lot with a windbreaker on was named by the GAO as having completely tanked our arson and explosives program. Wasted, I forget the numbers, you can research it, $12 million, and undermined our NRT, our cornerstone program, and his consequences for poor management and failure, he got promoted.
Yep. Got to ask you, I mean, it sure doesn't sound like, looking back, you don't have any regrets for what you've done.
None. This will work out. If not, then the system isn't bent or damaged or needing repair. It's broken. If the truth doesn't matter anymore, if accountability for government employees, and we get paid well to do what we do, isn't there, the system is broken. It doesn't matter who gets elected.
So the fight goes on. You're going to challenge this one. Will you continue to get paid? How does it work?
Oh, no. I can't go into the mechanisms because of litigation, because of constraints that are put on me by the government. You know, they don't like to have this out in the open and discuss it and put the evidence out there. So I am constrained on some level, but you can rest assured until every mechanism allowed by law has been invoked to get the truth out and get some accountability on not only the Fast and Furious people, but the leadership and the attorneys across the Department of Justice who are responsible for this. I'm not going anywhere.